No, I thought it was.
The chicken with the coconut line, two arms.
This guy was so dehydrated and dry.
And they just
Stabilized him was going to take about a year and a half.
they're on the
Water.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of water. I don't drink it.
All the minerals were just...
I just found out that they put CO2 in all the water except for that one other tank. The rest of it all.
Yeah, I'm merging that. But it's like
I'll tell you.
I want to stay ahead of you.
I would have never known except I got a lady up
I'm about
she's from Switzerland. The machine takes it right out of the tap. The machine, it tastes just like you say.
I'm a Swiss birthday.
Enjoy the social life. For me, I made it work. It's silly to sell. I go out and machine. I'll go out to some machine starting. No, so it's near me. I go all 6,000 take care of me, but I just got a huge plate of fish for $25. Lots of different fishes. Things that I couldn't get. No, it's called the valve. It's really good. And there's each place that is kind of a good deal.
I'm going to stay right on the settlement.
There are places where you do have to pay. Here, $25.
Joanne is here. Joanne? Where the? Well, I wanted to ask if I assume the door was
Yeah, I think so.
for lighting that was there.
Yeah, and I put that light over there. Can you please light on?
I don't think I need any more.
Okay.
As long as the door's open, it'll be good.
Yeah.
It might help. It might help if you don't mind, but
Pretty well set up. You want to cook?
Yes. I'm fine. I take a hefty dial 310 first and then. Yeah. Joanne, I have to dial 310 for crosshair.
Actually, turn that off.
Yes. Yeah. I wasn't safe.
Because my mother since 3 when I went to dial
Just couldn't get it.
she has to dial 310.
Now it's back.
All right, we're going to get started now. There's pillows on the floor if anybody wants to sit.
Okay, I'll come in.
Throw them down. Oh, God.
Over there.
Not block the door in case somebody has to go to the bathroom.
You need some pillows back there? What else can I do?
Sesame seed. Head apple there later. So there's no meat in that?
They're so thin.
Need that many.
Is there anybody that Lori hasn't seen?
Yes.
Okay. Has everybody has my extortionist gotten your money? It's good to see you again. I haven't seen you in months. 6 months? Wow, you're doing great. You're a little bit. Where are you going?
I went on a fasting now. Thanks, Benny. Synchronized, which is more work than
I know, but people are still talking and collecting, so I have to wait.
Tell them to shut up.
Well, no, I'm waiting for her to
Okay,
collect.
that's good.
Everybody?
Yeah, just about me too.
Just about? You know who to pin afterwards? All right, I'm going to start this one off a little bit different. I'm going to tell you basically what I've been going through for the past 3.5 weeks, just so you can get an idea. Now, the people who have come to see me, a few people saw my iris, the left one, with the last remaining brown, reddish-brown spot that I had in the iris. It was on the spine. Well, about 3.5 weeks ago, well, let me go back further. For about 6 months after I was having sex for about a half hour, my lower back would start hurting, which hasn't been hurting in 15 years, something like that. And you remember in the book that I talk about having had the radiation on my abdomen that burned my entire spine. So it was basically, after the radiation therapy, I couldn't even touch my knees. I had been so burned in the spine. Then after I went to a spinal meningitis, which I didn't know if I were going to survive. About 4.5 months after that, after I healed from it, I was able to touch my shins. The next time I had spinal meningitis, I could touch the floor.
Wow.
But it takes about 4 to 4.5 months to heal from one of those. Well, I went through it again. 3.5 weeks ago, I started with the pain in my lower back mildly, and I have a Crossbow, an old one made out of wood, and it had broken the prod, so I had molded this whole thing to remake it because you can't get any parts for it. And then I went to restring it myself. Now, it's a 150-pound bow. When you string it, it's 300 pounds. So I was stringing it, and I ripped all the muscles away from my spinal cord right here. So I was basically crippled. I had a black tie affair in exactly 24 hours to go to. Now, this is something maybe metaphysical, I don't know, but anytime I've had a problem, I'm always able to do what I need to do. So I had lots of pain formulas with cheese, and that's basically all I ate besides chicken. Constantly, during the night, up till that time where I had to go to the black tie affair. Put my tux on, I went to the black tie affair. I was getting up very slowly, but I was maneuvering and did the whole thing. For the next 2 days, I was crippled again. Basically, I couldn't put socks on. I had to crawl to the bathroom, do different things. Then when it started going into meningitis, spinal meningitis, it was like a flu symptoms all over. Tons of mucus coming out. This went on basically off and on for a 3.5 week period. Today is my first day without pain. But all along the way, I've been handling clients, still functioning all along. And every time it would come to a client coming, I was basically, my body would stop all the mucus flow, so I didn't have to react that way. And anytime I had to go out and do something, my body made sure that I did it pretty easily. That's another thing. I don't know if it has something to do with my own metaphysical nature, but I've seen other people able to do this too. When they go through detox, they seem to be able to function normally. I have a few clients, few new clients within the last 3 months who have had heavy projects going. And they were getting tremendous flus as they were detoxing, but they function every day doing their normal job and even more intensely. So they were saying, gosh, I've never been this sick, but I've never been able to be functional at the same time. You know, so I'm just bringing this up to let you know what you have to go through sometimes to get well. Just, you know, not panic, don't run to doctors, don't get x-rays, because one x-ray can prevent healing for up to 6 months. You cannot regenerate cells if they've been irradiated. That's the point of radiation therapy. It's to make sure cells don't regenerate. Well, sure, that's fine. You have one cancer cell to about 5 billion cells. So how many are not going to regenerate? And if those cells can't divide, you are not going to heal that area. So you don't go running to a doctor and get an x-ray. If you have to know something, demand that they do it with a sonogram. As long as you're not pregnant, we'll be fine. Sonograms will not hurt you. If you're pregnant, they could hurt the eardrums of the child. It may have, you know, tone deafness, something like that. But as long as you're not pregnant, a sonogram is the best way to know something if you want to know something. The only time I ever want to know something if I have a broken bone and it needs to be reset. And it would have to be a pretty serious bone for me to go to a doctor to do it, because I would do it myself. One time I broke 7 bones in my toe. I was in the desert. I was out early on a bicycle, and I hit, there was a curb that had water flowing in, so the mold was growing. So it was green in there. And I was going around the corner at an angle, and the tires just went out from under me, and my toe from this toe here caught the curb and ripped them all out. So it actually took the toes, the bottom toe, and ripped it all the way apart, all the way up to the index toe. And it broke 7 bones altogether. So I found a friend of mine had a 14-year-old girl that loved to crack people's toes and joints, just going around pulling your fingers all the time. So I got her to reset my toes. And it was perfect. It worked. So the best thing to do if you have a problem, if you have a detox, don't panic. You know, on this diet I found that you get well, you just have to be patient. Of course, those people who've had tremendous radiation, chemo, and surgeries, and you have cancer, something like that, you may not make it, but like I always say, it's probably better to die than to keep having the quality of your life reduced to the point where you're like I was, where I would have I could not stand up. I mean, I would basically pass out if I tried to stand up. So what I do is I sleep on the couch. When I had to go off the couch, I would roll onto the floor and crawl with my elbows all around the house. That's what the medical profession did to me. So basically, I'd rather not go with them. I'd rather die than to go through that again, because it took me a lot longer to get well than it would have from the cancer. This time I was going through it again, and this was because of the radiation therapy that I was crawling around the room and had spinal meningitis again. Spinal meningitis was nothing of what I had before they treated me. And the radioactivity in my spine damaged my spine to do that. So anyway, in this last 3 weeks, it's the hardest detox that I've been through in about probably 10 years. And it was a rough one. But I'm standing up here today. I don't think that I can get very far down yet, just below my knees. It'll take about 4.5 months to clean that up and to detox and to get strong again, where I'll be able to touch 4. What I'm hoping for this time is my hamstrings have been so tight for so many years, I can't sit, and touch my toes without bending my knees. So I'm hoping that from when I get completely well from this, in about 4 to 6 months, that I'll have that flexibility. So, and that's usually what happens. I get more flexible and better every time I go through anything. I'm also hoping that spot that was on the spine will all be removed. Now, it may lighten or it may shrink, which means I may have to go through it again. But I won't know for about 4 more months. So people who go through heavy detoxifications, now I know Melanie there was going to go through, went through spinal meningitis once, and the medical profession took care of her and stopped it because they thought she'd be paralyzed and die or something like that, which is, you know, the process. If you have medical treatment, you can go in anaphylactic shock. Now, I know that I've mentioned this before. I'm jumping around because I want to get to your questions, but I want to make this as quickly as possible. I know that I've said this before, but there are some new people here. A lot of people are concerned about the bacteria and the parasites and all the deaths that have occurred because of bacterial food poisoning. All of the medical reports that I've seen, the death certificates that I've seen of the people who died of so-called bacterial food poisoning, like with the Jack-in-the-Box incident, none of them died of bleeding to death or dehydration, which happens when you have an intense detoxification with bacteria or parasites, and the body's trying to flush it out. People vomit to the point where they bleed, or they have diarrhea to the point where they bleed, and they dehydrate from all of that, as well as losing the blood. Those are the only things, blood loss and dehydration is the only thing that can naturally occur and can kill you, and it happens 1 in probably 10,000. All of those records that I've seen, every one of them died from anaphylactic shock, which means from the treatment of the diarrhea and all of that.
The
So
little
these,
kids? You mean the small kids?
all, even the adults, they're dying from anaphylactic shock. So it's the treatment. The doctors are not going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you died because of our drugs." They're not going to say that. They're going to continue to blame, you know, the bacteria and parasites.
So are you saying the kids would have survived had no treatment been given?
Yes, as long as they were given good food and they didn't dehydrate. There's still a certain percentage of the children who would dehydrate and die, especially if the children were raised on high carbohydrate diets. They have all these advanced glycation end products that are built up in their body on which the bacteria or parasites can feed, and it causes a tremendous detoxification. And that is, you know, either the salmonella or the E. coli or the campylobacter are working on that toxicity to remove it. And when they start having vomiting or diarrhea, that's the body dumping it quickly. And if it doesn't flush it out, it burns the tissues like acid. So that's why it has to flush it out or vomit it. Now, if people are in such bad diet, like in third world countries when they're fed just cereals and, you know, grains, basically, cooked grains, a lot of those people are going to die from dehydration and bleeding to death because they don't have any good stable proteins. There's no way for the body to recover from that. But here in America, with our meats, even though they're cooked, will be more stable, and there'll be less deaths from that. But when the medical profession gets involved, then the rate of deaths are like 100 times greater. It's just like people have automatic anaphylactic shock from vaccines, you know, whether they're flu or whatever.
So you're saying that someone that is on a raw foods diet is less susceptible to being harmed by bacteria if it's
Yes.
in your body?
Well, the bacteria never harms you. The bacteria is there to eat degenerative
So it only
tissue.
harms you when it's involved with whatever bad stuff is in people's bodies.
No, that's all it ever goes after, bad stuff, degenerative tissue in the body.
Okay.
So the bacteria is never a bad guy. It's just if you're so full of toxicity that the detoxification
Comes bad for
is
that
going to
person.
kill you, you know, then it's a problem for you. But it's going to be a problem for you if you're living in that state anyway. Yes.
Could you describe what anaphylactic shock is, what's actually happening in the
How do you
body?
spell that?
ANA, PH, Y, LETIC, I think it is.
LACT.
Anaphylactic shock.
LY, yes. Anaphylactic shock can come from anything that traumatizes the body. There are certain children that get anaphylactic shock from having pasteurized or cooked honey. The sugar goes radically into the system and the body goes into shock if it doesn't have insulin to handle it properly. Honey. Heated honeys can kill a child. They'll go into anaphylactic shock. If you have a vaccine or antibiotics, anything that's injected into you, the odds that 1 out of 100 times you're going to go into anaphylactic shock. That's why there's so many deaths from hospitals. There are somewhere around 2,300,000 diseases a year caused in hospitals. 2,300,000 a year. And it's rising. And that's basically because people have allergies to these medications. And they create severe conditions, which complicates the condition that they're in for, or just coming for a checkup. And people are getting barium, to take a look at their GI. They're just not digesting well, they're not eating properly, so they go take this radioactive material and they drink it so that the picture can be beautiful.
Right.
And then what do you think is going to happen? People are going to go anaphylactic shock. They're going to destroy their intestinal bacteria. They're going to destroy their veins. All kinds of things. So then you have somebody who has a problem. So just wanted to start this session off by saying that people on this diet who stick with it through the thick and thin always get well, unless they've had tremendous medical treatment prior for like cancer or MS, something like that, where they've taken phenomenal amounts of drugs. Everybody else, like the people in here, usually get through it. You'll get through your hardships of your colds, your flus, your meningitis, your spinal meningitis, anything like that, and you'll get well. You just have to get through it. Like I was crawling around on the floor. Now, if I had panicked, I filled towels. Those were my handkerchiefs. My handkerchiefs were towels because I was putting out so much mucus.
It came out through your nose?
Yes. Now, like I said in the last two, your bowels are your whole body. You're all one big asshole. Everybody. Because basically the body is going to use every means it can to dispel the toxins that are in the system. It's going to use the mucous membranes, it's going to use the skin, it's going to use the earwax, it's going to use the salivary glands, it's going to use the tear ducts, it's going to use the vaginal cavity in women, it's going to use the penis in men, it's going to use every hormone it can to throw off everything. Because the vaginal cavity in women is so large and that mucous membrane is so great, and women have the ability to detoxify, that way they have that extra bowel that men don't. I think that is why women live longer, almost 20% longer. So all of you women who are, say, oh God, I wish I didn't have that period every month, it's such a hassle. Let me tell you, get on a good diet so it isn't so rough and like going through so many headaches and so many cramps. After a few years, you'll be glad you have that. Because you're a lot better off than men are. A lot better.
Couldn't men dispel through their semen?
No, because if you were ejaculating 6-8 times a day, you could probably keep up with that.
That creates other problems.
But then you've got an eating problem that has to keep up with that. Because there are some pretty rich nutrients that have to be utilized for semen.
Yeah.
Because of the quality of what it has to be.
Get hold of
right? Well, you have to be a prostitute.
So I wonder if male gigolos live longer.
From what I understand, they do.
There you go.
And all men who are sexual live a little bit. Those you hear about those men that still have sex in their 90s who are hot as hell. You know, they smoke and drink, you know, they do anything, but they just keep that activity. But a lot of that has to do with adrenaline too. And adrenaline has a tendency to be able to nullify a lot of the toxicity in the system. Yes.
Does that mean that, like, vaginal discharge, that's a sign of detoxing or
Correct.
releasing stuff?
Right. Now, I've known women who, when they start on the diet, they start detoxing heavily out that canal, and they'll actually burn holes in their underwear from it. That's how bad. One woman I have on it right now, I have on the diet right now, who went on to it. She is discharging brown and green fluids, and they're just, it's tearing her labium up. You know, it burns it, swelling. This is pretty toxic stuff. She has cancer.
Right.
You know, so she's discharging out that canal.
Thank heaven.
Yes. Yeah. She has that ability. Yeah.
Now, why is adrenaline important?
Well, adrenaline, the body uses adrenaline in emergencies many times. This is something that I cannot laboratorily prove. However, by experience, I've seen that people who have high adrenaline produce a lot of adrenaline in the blood, seem to be able to drink, smoke, do everything bad, and get away with it. So there's some properties about adrenaline that keep people numb to what they're doing. And also it keeps them from getting too ill. Now, still a lot of those people will all of a sudden, the drop of a hat, die of a heart attack. You know, because the adrenaline dries their system out, so they get brittle. All of a sudden they'll go like that. They'll be completely healthy. Nobody has a clue that they have anything wrong with them. Then they'll have an aneurysm in the brain or a heart attack, and that's it.
Because adrenaline dries the tissue.
The system, right. Unless they eat a tremendous amount of fat. Now you take somebody who has high adrenaline and eats a high amount of fat at the same time, then they won't have that problem. They won't die of a heart attack.
Just to get back to what you were saying, you're saying that because we're eating a raw food diet and everything is raw and the bacteria, because that was the original question, bacteria will not hurt us.
Well, bacteria is, like I said, there are three ways that the body detoxifies. It detoxifies through solvents. Your body will take fats like olive oil. Olive oil creates more of it. Peanut oil. Any of your pressed oils would create more solvents. 90% of it will be used as a solvent. Just like we make solvents out of fats and add turpentine or some other cutter to go in there and cut it and pull it out. The fat's collected. We do the same thing. We make solvents to go in and clean out the body. There's not as many solvents made with fats that are animal nature.
Raw eggs.
Raw eggs, that's an animal nature. It will not make all those solvents. It likes to breed bacteria. Now, the solvent process is a difficult one because the byproduct of the solvents that the body makes to decontaminate itself, to get rid of degenerative tissue, the byproduct of that is almost identical to turpentine, and it is as toxic. So what it creates is a very slow way of breaking down degenerative tissue. Your body has to neutralize the byproducts and dump it into the stomach, so it creates a low-grade nausea and a slight poisoning of the system all the time. So it's kind of people who are lethargic about life, have no joy, no joie de vivre, about life. Bacteria work 2.5 times faster at eating up and getting rid of degenerative tissue than the body can with the solvents. The third is parasites. Parasites work 5 times faster than your body can use a solvent. Usually there's not much even experienced Most people don't even know they have parasites until somebody does a test and say, oh, you've got parasites. So they take these anti-parasitical dewormers to get rid of them. They just got rid of their best friends. Their quickest way to get well and the least toxic. They work almost undetectable. So what happens, these worms then go in there and eat up things very quickly, unless you don't eat the proteins to regenerate the tissue. And that's when people come into problems like in third world countries. Again, they don't have meat, they're living on cereals. They don't get the protein they need to regenerate cells, whether good or bad cells. So what happens is they ulcerate, they have gut leak, and they die. But on this diet, everybody who has parasites gets well faster than anybody else and has no problem because you're eating the raw meats to regenerate the cells so that there's no gut leak. So you're regenerating cells as fast as parasites are eating.
How do you put parasites in your body?
Not being able to do it. I've eaten pinworm-infested salmon, fluke-infested brain,
So you either
and
have
tripe.
them or you don't.
Yeah, you either can get them naturally or you don't. Now, the reason I don't think that I can get them is because of all the radiation chemo I had. So I think that someday, hopefully I will. I've been able to generate bacteria. I can eat rotten meat till it comes out, my ears, and I will get the bacteria. And that's what I did to bring this meningitis on. I was eating heavily bacteria meat that was rotten for anywhere from 3 to 6 months to generate that.
How do you get your rotten meat?
Pardon?
How do you get your rotten meat?
How do I get it? I just, well, that's one way to do it. But what I do is I put it in a jar with a lot of airspace in it, and then let it rot in the jar in the refrigerator and open it every once in a while outside so it doesn't stink up the house, and then bring it in, and then just keep letting it decompose there. So I've got bison heart, I've got venison liver, I've got all kinds of things in my refrigerator.
You do it with ground beef too?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the Oriental people are doing with their 1,000-year-old eggs.
Eggs, yes. Yeah, they have the century egg, and they rot them in the ground from anywhere from 1 to 25 years. One egg will cost you $1,000 if it's 25 years old.
Who gets to eat that egg?
Pardon?
Who gets to eat that egg?
Very
The
rich
emperor.
people.
The
Rich
emperor.
Chinese folks.
Very rich people, yes.
The Ming Dynasty.
And they're either a black mold inside with lots of bacteria or a white mold. Black or white, and that's the way they come out.
For the bacteria.
For the bacteria, yeah. The Eskimos rot their meats, and I mean, they let it stink. They'll bury it in a hide, and only 6 inches, the deepest part of it is 6 inches. They put this rack over it so the animals can't dig it out of the ground.
If that's not cause heavy detoxing, or they wouldn't need it.
No, what it does is it gives them so much bacteria to be able to stand the fall and winter.
Yes, that's what.
Yes,
but
they
they're
do it.
animals, and they wouldn't eat those eggs if they got sick after they.
Exactly. What they do, well, they do. They sometimes cause little flus and colds, but they know after they do it, it's a cleansing, and they get better.
So when we go to the market and we're asking for the freshest meat, it ain't necessarily so.
That's right. Yeah. It's just, like I said, I brought a lot of my meat. When I want to get stable and stronger, I eat my meat fresh. When I want to start breaking down and get it detoxing, I'll eat more rotten meat.
When you want it fresher, what did you say?
When I want to regenerate and get stronger, I eat the fresh meat. Yes.
When you use tissue from, let's say you have scar tissue on your heart or problems with your kidneys, how does the body know when we use degenerative tissue, when we rot it outside of our body purposefully and then go to eat it to take a lot of that stuff out, how does the body know to use that particular tissue to focus on our particular tissue?
I think the body's pretty ingenious. It grew you, didn't it?
No, I mean what we do is when we take, like you said, you have
The body just knows how to do it.
It just goes.
The body knows how to do it. The body's a genius. Yeah.
The greatest chemical plant on this planet.
It is. It's a phenomenal thing what the body can do. I mean, look at our science, and when we make a bionic person, they can't regenerate themselves. Cloning or anything. Yes, Melanie?
At one time, I was told I had endometriosis, and this man that I was dealing with, who was going to help me out, it wasn't the doctor, he was more like holistic, whatever, and he said that I had parasites. That's what was giving me the endometriosis, and we had to get rid of them. And he gave me, what was it, black walnut tincture, and all these different things that made my head spin, and it was really unbelievable. For about, a month, I had to do this every day. And so he got rid of all my parasites. So, okay, that means that I tend to get them. I saw them come out. Will I get them back? Can I get them
Well,
back?
you did natural means to get rid of them, so it means you'll get them back as soon as you get those fluids, those serums out of your system.
Well, this was a year ago.
Yeah, it'd take about 3 years to get all that out.
So,
Yeah.
got rid of
But
something else.
but parasites do not create endometriosis. Endometriosis occurs when the body is lacking regenerative ability somewhere, and it needs cells from some other area, and it happens to pick the ovary, to take those cells and to plant them somewhere else, to borrow those cells. So when you go into a period, not only are your ovaries reacting, the cells that have transported somewhere else that are normally ovarian tissue react on that same monthly cycle. So you're having pains in other areas where those ovarian tissue cells are alive. That's what endometriosis is. That occurs from having some kind of damage somewhere in your body that needs new cells or live cells, and your body goes to the uterus, to the ovaries and gets them. Yes.
I have two questions. One, how do you know?
Properties of the cell.
And second, are there any do's and don'ts to aging? Not only meat, but milk also? I mean, do you need to keep giving it fresh air regularly? That sounds to keep it in aerobic. Like meat.
Yes.
Meat in the bottle.
It will not rot. It will not. It will stop at a certain stage. There are 17 stages of a cycle.
Uh-huh.
So if you want all cycles of them, then you eat them at all stages.
And are there specific advantages to each stage?
Yes, there are different stages, that create different things.
But you
have
want-
to get very scientific about that. It's better to use your intuition,
Right.
because when I tried to do it on a scientific basis, there's too much to know that you can't know unless you're
But is it
very
important
psychic.
to keep the rotting process aerobic? In other words, fresh air? Okay.
In the stage where I am, which is like healing and.
Pardon?
At my stage, I would have to have the fresh meat rather than the stinky meat.
No, you need both.
Okay.
Yeah, for cancer people, I say, eat shit.
Eat shit.
Really. If you want to get well quickly from cancer, E. coli, salmonella, all of those shrink tumors and reverse cancer. The University of Toronto, in conjunction with the Children's Hospital of Toronto, the Hospital for Sick Children of Toronto, did research for 20 years on the aflatoxin produced by E. coli. They found, and they showed the research and the papers on it, and all the data, the graphs, the pictures of the mice that were used, shrinks tumors, dissolves tumors, and reverses cancer in 7 to 15 days.
And what, E. coli?
E. coli.
Where were they getting it?
What?
They were getting it from, they were culturing it from bowel,
But you're
E.
saying
coli.
it would develop in the rotten meat, right? Or
Well, no, the
similar.
E. coli doesn't naturally exist. E. coli is a natural bowel thing, like manure from cows or anything like that.
You don't get it from yogurt. Ingesting it.
I recommend that people do ingest it.
Well, I'm asking how.
Where?
In what form are you ingesting it?
Uncooked frozen meat.
Well, if they really, what I told them, like at the last one, I said, if you really want to get well quickly, take some of that meat that you're rotting, wipe your fanny with your finger after you go, and then rub it on the meat and let the E. coli grow on the meat. If you want to do it,
And how does the meat taste?
It's so bad smelling as it is, there's no distinguishing.
How you just hold your nose and swallow? Or?
You want to tell them how you get it down?
Very quickly.
I just cut it into very small pieces, and I have my glass of milk, and I put it in my mouth and drink it. Just don't even taste it. Just
Don't say
One
it.
bite.
Don't stop on the
very
tongue.
small bite. Just drink it right down.
That's it.
Yeah,
How
swallow it.
much
Don't
you
even
eat
chew.
it? How much?
Small amounts. Small amounts at a time.
A day or weekly?
Intuitively, whenever I feel I need it.
I mean, like
I'm not on a regular program.
What's a small amount?
Tablespoon.
You can do this after you go to the bathroom or just any time?
Well, you should do it if you take the meat, okay, you take the meat that you're in the pot, whatever little amount it is, and right after you go, before you wipe yourself, I suggest that you rub it on the meat. If you want that E. coli to work for you.
And then how long would you leave it?
7 to 15 days.
Where?
It works then.
And do it every day?
No.
Once in a while?
You know, I would say, well, it depends on how quickly you want to get well and how much you want to be a guinea pig for yourself. You know, there are lots of people who eat fecal matter. In fact, a lot of the, the Tibetans and the Hindu religions, almost all of your masters and your so-called avatars eat manure.
They turn it into holy ash.
Well, no, that's in this culture that's they've said, okay, this is what we do. Don't turn it holy ash. They eat it directly fresh
From the cow?
from the cow and from other humans that are healthy. They always go for someone healthy to get the fecal matter from. So I used to stay away from this subject like crazy because this is something that is in a very selective network. But since the University of Toronto last June came out with their research, how E. coli dissolves tumors and reverses cancer in 7 to 15 days, I thought, I don't have to. And then the salmonella with Yale, the salmonella at Yale with Dr. Lowe. I'm not holding it back anymore. I've got some credibility there. People just don't think this guy is really gone. We thought he was gone with the raw meat. Now he's talking about eating shit.
Next one,
It's insane, Well, urine's been around for a long time. I did mention that in my book.
I guess you
I did
want a
mention
whole new
that.
meaning.
Right.
So then,
But I know people who've had terrible constipation problems. And they said, well, how do I get that environment back? And I said, well, you can do it 2 ways. You can take clabbered milk, inject it into you, about 4 ounces, get on all fours, get it in you, then go down on your shoulders with your butt up, roll your stomach like a belly dancer, get it to move up into your transverse colon, then lie on your right side and roll your belly again to get it going down into your ascending colon. And then the bacteria can feed on it. If you want to do it even faster, eat somebody's fecal matter that's very, very healthy, preferably, a carnivore, like a dog's or something. Dog looks for human to regenerate theirs. In fact, a dog will eat any fecal matter from any animal as long as it's healthy, to keep their bacteria levels up.
Sure does.
How do you know what his health was?
Well, I sell mine.
You're one of them.
I have given mine. I have given mine to several people, and I've gone on a particular diet for them, for me, for the day before I go, for that. And let me tell you, one time that they ate the fecal matter, it corrected the entire problem.
Oh my.
Just one time.
Have you experimented with cancer with this 7 to 15 days?
No, I've not found anybody who would do that.
Yeah.
Lori is just now starting to do it with her cancer.
And how often do you do it, Lori? Once every month or
that?
something?
No, she's only done it once so far.
Once.
Well, actually, eating the
Fecal matter.
fecal matter.
I
was-
mean, rubbing the meat on the fecal matter.
I just ingested the fecal matter. I rolled it in a little piece of meat. I didn't taste it at all.
You made a joint out of it.
Right. Yeah, I just swallowed
Well,
it
and she washed it down.
what kind of cancer do you have?
down. Kidney, breast, and hip.
Have you had radiation?
No, I haven't done any medical therapies for cancer, but I have had other things, injections and chemicals, things like that.
How long ago, when did you find out you had it?
I've known for about 4 years.
So, I mean, Lori came to me about 3 years ago. She was a neighbor, and she'd been chronically fatigued for almost 8 years. And she'd been to the doctor, she'd been to herbalists, she'd been to everybody, and nobody could figure it out. So I, looked at her eyes, and I said, you have what looks like a growth in your kidney attached to your adrenal gland. And I didn't tell her about the one in the breast and the one in the hip joint. So she had a sonogram which showed a growth. And she never addressed her cancer up until a few months ago. She just didn't care. She does her own thing. She didn't come to me for any more advice. She just went with her own instincts on the raw diet. To me, this was, I'm used to going after the problem. Do this, this will address that, okay? But most people who have cancer are out to get rid of it instantly. They want to work on that, and I can direct the diet toward that. She just didn't do it. Only in the last 4 months has she been directing her diet toward getting rid of the cancer. But she's done beautifully, Even not addressing the cancer, it's like she was cleaning out the rest of her body. But her eyes were dark brown. If you look at them closely, they're mostly green now. And I've never seen any guys go that quickly from dark brown to a hazel in a matter of about 2 years.
Have you been all along?
No, mine were hazel and brown.
2 years or 4 months?
Mine took 22 years.
No, I mean,
Oh.
Lori, you said 4 months or 2 years?
No, it took 2 years for her eyes to get from dark brown to green. 2 years and a couple of months.
And they're still a little brown. They're still brown in them, but it's more green now. It's mostly green.
She has she has more of an orange circle around the pupil. It's not dark brown anymore. It used to be dark brown. It's mainly orange right now, which is indicative of cancer. Anybody who has a complete orange circle around the pupil is already starting to develop cancer, whether they have tumors or not. Yes.
People talk about harmful bacteria as well as beneficial bacteria. Is there anything as harmful bacteria? Or?
Well, they count harmful bacteria where they find colonies of bacteria that move so quickly in the system that they're afraid of them.
Gray eyes?
But all bacteria is good.
Right.
You know. Which germ warfare about? Most people are not well. So what they're doing is getting bacteria from other animals and crossing them, and then giving them to humans as a matter of destroying them, debilitating them so they can kill them. If they're the army, they can debilitate them with these, like anthrax, a cultured anthrax that isn't a normal anthrax, and give it to humans. They'll react badly. From what I understand, that AIDS is really a man-made virus from both a splicing of the bovine leukemia with the sheep lymphoma.
Sheep lymphoma and
How did they
bovine.
get the two together for the vaccine?
Pardon?
How did you say this is part of the vaccine?
Yeah, from what I understand, they put it in the B hepatitis vaccine in the 60s.
Why did they do that?
They were, from what I understand, doing their war experiments, biological war experiments, and because they were giving it to people with hepatitis, like New York, Houston, Los Angeles, San Francisco, 90% of the people who were getting hepatitis were homosexuals because they were drinking a lot and taking a lot of drugs. So 90% of them the homosexuals were getting hepatitis. So they were giving them this contaminated B
Bovine leukemia.
It's a cross between leukemic virus of a bovine and the lymphanomic virus of a sheep. Dr. Strecker did that research, found he gave it to his brother, who was an attorney, filed lawsuits and information, the Freedom of Information Act, and got a senator involved, and both of them were dead within 3 months of all this process. In the back of my book, in the bibliography, the one book that's called The Bioattack Alert was written by that attorney.
Who did because somebody did them in, or because?
Well, they said that they committed suicide, but neither of them were suicidal. Yeah.
What about other viruses like the Epstein-Barr virus?
Epstein-Barr, that's a natural.
Oh, it is?
Basically, that's a natural one.
Would you say that was one of the causes of chronic fatigue syndrome, or not really?
Yes, absolutely. But Epstein-Barr is a natural one in reaction to chemicals in the body. It's not just like Guillain-Barre disease, which is an extreme form of anaphylactic shock. Guillain-Barre is complete paralysis. You're actually a vegetable. That mainly happens after vaccines.
Flu shot. What, the Epstein-Barr form?
No, Guillain-Barre.
What about the Epstein-Barr?
Epstein-Barr usually will happen under that situation too. It's a chemical reaction.
So vaccines mostly?
Yeah, vaccines, any injection that you can be allergic to penicillin and get the same kind of reaction. You can get yellow fever from, a polio vaccine. How your body responds is, it depends upon its own nature.
How would you get rid of it though, the Epstein-Barr? Any specific tips?
Well, I didn't want to get into that specific, for Epstein-Barr, because sometimes what they identify as Epstein-Barr is not. So a lot of people that think that they...
It's a usual problem. It'd be nice to hear at least an overview.
Yeah.
It would be so good.
Epstein-Barr is basically a breakdown of the lymph system. And if the lymph system doesn't flow and have what it needs to pull out the toxicity, then the whole system breaks down and you have chronic fatigue. It can move into lupus, which is degeneration of the connective tissue. That's the worst place I've seen it go. And people who eat a lot of carbohydrates, like breads and pastas, it goes there often.
Lupus.
Yeah. Lupus or MS or MD.
Lupus, you have, if you have pasta and what else? Bread.
High carbohydrates.
Yeah. High carbohydrate, cooked carbohydrates. Yes.
I have a couple questions.
Speak louder.
I have a couple questions. What do you think about smog and the impact in relation to eating well? Like, can this totally counteract that in a place like LA? And what about the...
Let's take one question at a time.
Okay.
Good question. From what I've seen on this diet, your body can handle that pollution, but it depends upon how well you are in the first place. Pollution, I can be in the worst pollution in the world. I don't get the problems that I used to from the pollution. I'll start sneezing a little bit. I'll have, like mucus for a few days when I get into heavy pollution. And I'll be, spitting the mucus from my throat. That's about the worst thing it does to me. It used to make me catatonic. I used to get short of breath. I would get spasms around my heart. I'd pass out being in the heavy pollution. Doesn't affect me that way anymore. But you have to get to a point where you're pretty strong, where your body can afford to use its nutrients to combat the pollution. Yes.
The other thing was about the AIDS that you were talking about. I heard a gentleman that I very much respect say that it's actually a genetic precursor that can be balanced with food, and that because of citing a lot of cases that HIV a lot of times is not present with AIDS, and AIDS, and HIV patients sometimes never get AIDS, no matter whether.
Well, HIV it's a breakdown of the immune system. It has nothing to do with the virus. AIDS is a virus. HIV is a lowered immunity. You breakdown of your lymph system, basically. Almost total breakdown of your lymph system. And Some people will get all kinds of diseases from that. Guillain-Barre, any number of diseases that can go anywhere.
Can I ask a question on you
Yes.
mentioned Guillain-Barre?
Uh-huh.
My mother's had it for many, many years and recovered a little bit, but now has tremendous pains still in her legs, to where she takes painkillers hourly, every 2 or 3 hours. Is there like a simple handling for her who won't eat raw meat?
No, I just don't know any way you can get rid of it without raw meat. I mean, you could try to ease that by having lots of raw cream and eggs, but cream isn't available easily. Avocados won't do it.
Fat, just good raw.
Yeah, raw eggs and raw cream. Raw cream is about your best for that.
How many eggs Yeah, how many eggs a day? Is it
It
general?
depends upon the individual. Yeah.
Because I thought that makes the crystallization, the egg. It almost feels like the white of the egg that's settling every hour on the inside of the nose. And I thought maybe I'm eating too many eggs.
No, that's when that serum from the cancer cell dies and sets out a serum which dissolves the surrounding scar tissue. That's that substance melting those tissues. So
Okay, it's
it
not
doesn't
the
have anything to do with the egg white. No.
Okay, so like 6 eggs a
You'd
day.
be so lucky.
I see.
That's mucus that it will create to flow it out.
The mucus of Clyde Lucas. So 6 eggs a day is pretty average for someone like me.
No, I usually have them eating more if they can get raw cream at the same time, but it depends on how much weight you're willing to gain. Like I
I've
say,
already gained 35
yeah.
pounds.
Well, it's also time to take it off. Like I say to people, I like people to gain, overweight, 15 to 30 pounds overweight in a 3-month period, and then to take it off in a 3-month period.
Wow.
You also remember, like last session 2 months ago, I had told about several people who were doing it in a 6 to 8 week period. They gain the 15 to 30 pounds in the 6 to 8 week period and take it off in a 6 to 8 week period. Those people have been getting well faster.
So it's time for me to start taking it off.
Taking it off. Yeah.
Okay.
So taking it off means just eating less fat? Or how do you?
Well, I wouldn't say it's eating less food.
Oh.
Period.
Eating less food.
What I do is have people eat, depends upon the individual, but basically it's, you have some juice, wait till you're very hungry, you have an egg, wait till you're very hungry again, have juice, vegetable juice, green vegetable juice, wait with lime juice in it, rind and all juice. Then you wait, so you're having juice, egg, juice, egg, juice, egg all day long, but you have to get very hungry each time you eat. The next day it's juice, either a golf ball to an egg-sized amount of meat. So it's juice, meat, juice, meat, juice, meat. And depends upon the individual. I may put people on 2 days of the juice, egg, and then 1 day of juice, meat. Other people I'll put 2 days of juice and meat, and then 1 day of juice and egg. Depends upon the individual.
And no cream and no milk.
Milk, 1 glass every 4 days if you're getting whacked out.
Of milk.
If you're getting unstable or unhappy or crazy. Yeah. Just 1 glass of milk and that'll stabilize it pretty much.
Because of the calories, or why? Only 1 glass.
Because of the calories, yes. And it'll cause your body to get hungrier and you'll...
I throw the egg into the milk because I don't like to eat it.
Well, on the detox diet, it's about having the egg alone. Or else it's going to take you a lot longer to lose the
Maybe that's
weight.
why it's taking longer, or not.
No, I haven't put you on a detox diet yet.
Oh, so I don't have to.
I
do
needed
what
you to
just-
gain all the weight that you've gained before I'm going to put you on.
Should I still not do this then? I'm still okay the way I am.
Yeah, you're doing fine, but we should start taking it off now because you're just the right weight to start taking it off.
Okay.
Yes.
On the weight loss program, do you use honey to help digest the proteins as well as
You only put the honey in the juice.
Okay, but not because part of your program you use the honey to help digest your proteins.
But you don't want any help now. I want your body to do it.
Okay.
On
When
the
you take
detox
your 3 eggs after you're juicing at the beginning of the day, you have them take the Rocky style. Can you chase it with milk?
When you're not on a detox diet, that's fine. But you're only eating 1 egg at a time on a detox
15
diet.
minutes.
Yeah.
Am I on a detox diet?
No,
I'm not.
no, you've been on a strengthening, gaining, stabilizing diet.
You told me about with
Yeah.
the honey that I could have as much as I wanted.
But that's you.
Oh, that's me only, no.
I'm still detoxing.
No, you need to stabilize and gain.
But I'm still retaining. So is the retaining part of the detox?
No. Well, it's, okay, let me put it this way. It's confusing what I just said. When you're stabilizing and gaining, you're really detoxing at the same time because your body's going to get the fats in there and going to pull out, loosen the toxicity, and then grab it and stabilize it with the fats. Then I need you to detox that from the body, not detox it from the tissue. So the stabilization gaining process is pulling out all the garbage. Then removing it, the detoxification is to detoxify. It's like changing your oil.
Okay,
So one is the detoxing of tissues and one is the detoxing of the fat that's already resting toxins.
So I'm at a stage now where I can start the detoxing like you just said.
Correct, to detox the
You-
fat that's collected the
You
garbage.
do it just for a few days and then
No,
come back?
you have to call me. That's a personal thing,
Oh,
so
okay.
we'll do that separately.
Back to the thing about HIV you mentioned a minute ago. I was curious about when they talk about people with HIV having viral loads and measuring them, but they don't have the symptoms of AIDS. How do you correlate what you just said about it not being a virus?
Well, it's not a single virus like the AIDS is a single virus. It can be isolated. In HIV, you can have multiple viruses, but they're not indicative to one. Okay, it's a breakdown of the lymph system. If the lymph system isn't cleaning out something, you could have meningitis. You could have the virus that is responsible for meningitis or spinal meningitis. You can have syphilis. You can have streptococcus. You can have any of those viruses active and present in your system in heavy amounts because there's lots of degeneration for them to feed on. But the AIDS is an isolated virus, which, according to Dr. Robert Strecker, is a man-made spliced virus. It was made from two diseases, and it was created right here at UCLA.
Wow.
And it was sent to the War Department in the early 60s.
So it didn't come from Africa like some people
No.
said we tried to...
They want to blame it on some creature like a monkey, you know. They want to blame it on something. That's why do you think that attorney and that senator ended up dead?
You mean they killed him?
They killed. Of course, they killed him.
Which senator?
I don't remember his name. It was Wisconsin or Massachusetts. It's in the book. If you get that book, Bioattack Alert. Yes.
Yeah, going back to detoxification, I recently had a sort of detox crisis with high fever and throbbing headache, lasted only a day and a half, sort of, but kind of what James was going through, but not so bad. What can we do? All I craved was the juice. Can we do anything to alleviate? Should we just drink
Well, you
juice?
just want to go through it to mitigate the suffering. I have the pain formula with cheese. I gave that. There's a lot of people who here who don't have the most recent pain formula. This isn't in the book, so I'm going to give it again.
It's great.
2 eggs. It works for you. Nice.
20 minutes.
Yeah. 2 eggs. 3 to 4 ounces of raw cream, and you just have to suck the cream off the top of the milk, you know, until more is available, till we can get cream already separated. Add 5 tablespoons of bee pollen.
5 to 6 tablespoons.
Wow. And you grind up your bee pollen?
Pardon?
You grind up your bee pollen?
It's all blended together.
Okay.
Yeah, just blend it together.
And the eggs can be blended with that. And you-
All of it's blended together. This is all blended together. The 1 tablespoon of either lemon or lime juice.
What did you say? It's not any better than lime juice.
It depends on what you're using. But here, no difference for this. And 1 teaspoon of honey. And you eat it with cheese. So I used to say a sugar cube size amount for every ounce of that pain formula. But I've increased it because I found that after my meningitis, I found it worked a little bit better to have more. So it's 2 sugar cube size amounts of cheese, especially cheddar works a little bit better.
This is raw cheese, of course.
Raw and salt, right, raw no salt added
Or every
cheese.
ounce.
Yeah, 2 sugar cube size amounts for every ounce.
So you're
And you eat
doing-
it with, as you're drinking that, you eat the cheese.
Okay, but you're making 3 to 4 ounces of raw cream. So are you drinking the whole thing at one time?
No. You blend all of that. You got 2 eggs.
Yes.
You got 3 to 4 ounces
Yes.
of cream.
5
You got that whole mixture.
Yes.
You can take all day to drink that because that's going to be about 10 to 12 ounces when you're finished blending it. So you take it as you need it, 3 ounces at a time if you like, 4 ounces the first time, 2 ounces every 5 hours as you need it for pain.
With 2 ounces every hour.
When I had my meningitis, it was so bad I couldn't stand up, I couldn't walk, I was crawling again on my elbows on the floor. I drank about 6 ounces of it the first time I had it with, probably about a quarter of a brick of cheese. And then about 4 hours later, I had the same amount. And then 5-6 hours later, I had the same amount again, until I stabilized.
I just want to say that I had terrible menstrual all my life. I've gone to every doctor. I've been on every pill. I mean, as far as Vicodin, Demerol, because my pain was so bad I could not walk across a room. And this is the first time ever that anything worked for me. I took it one time. I usually have 3 hard days of cramps. On the second day, it was so horrible. I took it one time. Got rid of it for the entire.
You drank the whole 3 ounces.
I just drank it. And now did it never come back the rest of the 5 days?
Didn't dare.
One time, it was gone for the whole entire period. I only would take it one time. And Demerol wouldn't even take away my pain.
That is great news because I'm in constant pain with my accident injury.
But let me tell you, with spinal meningitis, anybody been to spinal meningitis? It's taking like her cramps in her period and making it 24 hours a day all along the back, the shoulders and the legs. And the legs ache terribly. After, one of those in about a 6-hour period, I had no pain. Except when I was standing up or trying to move in a way that pulled at those muscles that were already torn from my back.
On the bee pollen, it says to be very careful and start slowly and stuff like that. We don't have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, if your bee pollen is heated, yes. If it's soft bee pollen, it's fresh and it's not cooked.
My bee pollen is hard.
Your hard bee pollen is not good.
I put it in the coffee grind and grind it up.
No, it's a bad bee pollen. It's heated and kiln dried bee pollen. You need to get a soft bee pollen. You have to find it refrigerated. Even some of the refrigerated have been kiln dried. So what you have to take, through the package, you have to test it and make sure it crumbles easily. Yeah.
Aajonus, the stuff from the farmer's market isn't in the fridge. I never put that soft stuff in. Are we supposed to refrigerate?
Yes, you're supposed to refrigerate it.
You told me to put it in the freezer.
How much bee
No,
pollen is
I
that?
Don't put it in the
don't put it in the freezer. Put it in the fridge
Okay.
Why?
because it will destroy some of the activity if it's frozen.
No, why do we have to put it in the fridge?
Because it will destabilize. It will dry out, and then the proteins won't be utilized.
Okay.
So you said 1 cube of that cheddar cheese for every.
Two sugar cube sized
every ounce.
amounts. Yeah.
For every ounce of the liquid you're using.
Correct. Yes.
You use 2 ounces, 2 sugar.
So did you have the cheese with that
Yes.
one? Okay. Good.
Can you just blend the cheese with it, or do you have to eat it?
If you do, you have to blend it a long time, and the EMFs may change it and damage it.
Oh.
I tried that.
It's
and
what?
It just doesn't work as well on some people. So if it affects any more than 2 people, I say don't do that.
What did you just ask?
To blend the cheese or not with it?
And it makes it very heavy and it tastes like a kind of an odd cheesecake that isn't delectable. Chewing them together seems to be okay, but blending it together into a hard substance like that, like cheesecake, is no fun. Yes.
When you are not with the spinal meningitis thing.
Hold on, everybody, please.
When you're at a point health-wise that you feel fine physically and stuff, do you work out and stuff like that? Because the reason I'm asking, I was wondering, like, when you're at your peak of health, what you would consider that, do you get any kind of feedback as to like what kind of body odor you may or may not have, or how your fecal matter smells?
No, don't ever look at that. It takes 40 years to regenerate the body.
How many?
40 years. So from the time you start on a good, perfect diet, it's going to be 40 years before you can expect your body not to stink. Because there's degenerative tissue throughout the system. It takes 40 years to get rid of it. That's pretty good. That's about a little over 2% a year. Could you imagine redoing New York at 2% a year? No way you could do it. Our body is pretty amazing to be able to do a 2% a year.
But isn't it the
So
meat?
you can expect to stink 40 years.
Isn't it the meat that makes it even fecal matter? When I was on macrobiotics, I was like a little baby. There was never any smell.
But you were not detoxifying anything either. You can't detox on that diet. It just makes everything stabilized because you're on an intense advanced glycogen, advanced glycation end product diet. Hold on.
She mentioned about having a flu and a headache.
Right.
And James had it too, and I got the same thing last week, and I thought it was caused by the butter. And I saw it as a good thing. I saw it as finally after 4 months I'm getting it. So you think that butter could be a reason for that?
Well, I'm really in a mixed quandaries about that butter. Because that butter, when I've used butter in the past, it always mitigates my problems. It doesn't help necessarily detox. It mitigates detoxification.
Mitigate means what?
Means to lessen the symptoms, the trauma that detox causes. When I took this butter every time, my meningitis got worse instead of better. My pain got worse instead of better. And it happened to you, and it happened to James, it happened to a lot of people. Okay.
Which butter?
That butter that James has?
Butter, yeah, the butter that James has.
You know about to buy it?
So he got a new one today. They got a new shipment in of a new butter, which is organic. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't tried it.
So should we throw out what we have?
I don't know. I don't know if those cows are on such a good diet and have such great stuff that is causing a more intense detox, or if there's something wrong with it. I just don't know.
I thought it was detox. I felt that right away.
My body craves that butter. My body craves that butter.
Yeah, I know. Well, your body craves butter, period.
Yeah, that's everybody.
It's just,
it can't be that bad then.
Whether it's that butter as well, I could give you pasteurized butter and you go nuts with it too.
Yes,
No?
true.
Yes.
No?
Can you
Yeah.
get some good from pasteurized or just all bad?
No, that's better than eating vegetable oils, which are plastic.
I've heard some people say that ozonated water will alleviate some of the detoxification symptoms. Have you experimented with it?
Yes, it does, because ozone will actually turn certain substances in your body into toxic fats. It makes them stink. It gets pretty bad. So what it's doing is causing a toxicity.
It's storing it.
Well, it's storing it. It's causing some bad things to happen in your body to stop the body from having symptoms, because the body's dealing with that new toxicity.
But aren't we also trying to store the toxins in the fat and then maybe?
Yes, but it causes fats to go bad, so they're not utilized properly. So I found ozone is a nasty substance.
So the alpine air purifiers that create ozone are bad?
No, I don't know about the air purifiers. I'm talking about when they ozonate water and ozonate oils.
Okay.
They'll pass olive oil through an ozonation machine, and let me tell you, the chemistry that I've seen come out of those is pretty dangerous.
Okay, so you don't know about the air purifiers?
I don't know about the air purifiers.
I know about them. I had two.
Well, I have one too, but I'm concerned because they generate
I don't
ozone.
know. The only thing I've done is looked at it is ozonating water and ozonating oils. And ozonating the blood. You've got a couple of people out in San Bernardino that will take your blood and ozonate the blood. And the toxicity, everybody that I have known that had cancer that went there died.
It was, somebody told me
Yeah.
that for anal ozone,
So-
they're using, whatever they call it.
Rectal infiltration.
Yeah, right.
Um,
You know, so.
I-
Hold on.
Yes, I asked you if you'd speak on the subject of milk, because James is not here, about what's going on with it and the availability of butter.
Okay, hold on to that one. Did you want to talk about more about this subject?
Yeah, about ozonation.
Yeah.
A little bit. Sorry.
What I mean, I've read a lot about ozonate and oxidative therapies. Germany's treated over 10 million people with it in all different forms. And the number of people who responded badly to it is like 0.007% or something. It's really, really low.
And those statistics are way contrived and twisted.
Can you back that up?
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen, if they're going to tell me that, and everybody that I've seen go to it die and have terrible responses afterwards, there's something wrong. Unless they're following a different protocol than they did in Germany or Europe.
I had it done on my
Yeah.
veins and it collapsed. It causes the veins to collapse.
Well, it does that if you do it too
If
quickly.
you do too much of it.
Yeah.
I've had 3 intravenous ozone injections in about the last 2 months, and also done some blood electrification, which I can't really attribute it to one or the other, but I have been becoming actually very clairaudient, very focused. I have stopped having any craving for alcohol or marijuana in the last month due to those 2 things.
But those 2 things may be causing such toxicity in you that your body can't handle the alcohol.
My focus has been much better.
Yeah. Well, like I say, even if you take coffee, you're going to feel better. But it's a stimulant. And electrotherapy that I've seen, that I experience, is not a healthy one. It's like electroshocking. Have you ever seen what electroshock does to a human being?
Yeah, when you fry a brain with it.
Well, but that's
Okay.
there's a difference
Like
between
that.
microcurrents
Not even
and
doing
electroshock.
Microcurrents, the amount of electroshock that's given to a person in electroshock therapy is even less than what they're giving to a cell. So you think about it.
And ozone?
The progression of health that I've seen come out of the people who do that, have experienced that on the long term, it does not make them better, it makes them worse. On a short term, it seems to work better. But so does all toxicity in the body. Toxicity, an inundation of immediate toxicity will cause the body to stop working on that old stuff. Let's say you've got virus or bacteria working on the spine, so spinal meningitis. So I take the ozone therapy, my spinal meningitis symptoms go away. That doesn't mean the problem's corrected. That means that the blood and everything is so toxic from the infusion of what I just gave it that the body can't deal with that anymore. So it lets that property go away and deal with the immediate toxicity. Just like coffee, anything else that you take. It causes an immediate concentration on that toxicity. Smoking, no matter what it is.
Are we talking about Bach-X electrotherapy?
Anybody's electrotherapy. I have not seen anybody's electrotherapy. You have to understand, electrotherapy has one model. And it's saying all people fit this model. Nobody fits one model. Impossible to do. Sure screwed the hell out of me for a year and a half when I had it.
Can you give a corrective measure? Because I had some, and it was very low current, but how do you correct it?
The way I had to do it, I had to lay on the earth for take a nap on the earth, for about 45 minutes minimum. I had to take baths with salt and milk, sea salt and milk, about a tablespoon of sea salt, at least a half a quart of milk. And
Any kind of milk?
and
raw
raw.
milk.
Yeah. I did experiments. So you can take the fat and suck the cream off the top. It doesn't have to have the fat in it for that bath. You can use skim milk, so you can suck the cream off the top and put that in. And about 2 ounces of vinegar. And I would.
Apple cider.
Raw apple cider vinegar.
Did you just pour the formula again?
Okay, it's 1 tablespoon of sea salt, 2 cups of skim milk,
2 cups.
Minimum. I use usually 3 cups. And I can sleep better in it. I was able to sleep better in it. And 2 ounces of raw apple cider vinegar.
What is this for?
This is to help sleep, to get the electrical currents a little bit more balanced. Because after I had that electric therapy, I was not able to sleep. I couldn't sleep for days. The only time I could sleep was on the ground outside, and I mean I tried to sleep everywhere.
Why on the ground?
Sleeping, I think it's the electromagnetic current of the earth. On the sand, I could sleep there fine, as long as I was in the sun, but I couldn't stand the cold.
You're electrically grounded on the earth.
Pardon?
You're electrically grounded on the earth.
And it could be just correcting everything. And then when I had to sleep in the bath, I could do my best sleeping in the bath. I could sleep about 2 hours at a time, and then wait for enough time to warm the bath, and then go back to sleep for another hour.
Is it better if the water's chlorinated? Is that a biggie?
Well, all of those things that I gave you help neutralize the 289 chemicals that we have in the city water.
Cider vinegar
Can I ask you
and salt.
about water filtration? What do you-
Water filtration is a very good thing.
What about like charcoal water filtration? I mean, is there any certain type
That's
of
helpful,
best?
but their Alpine carries some very good ones that will filter out a lot. But you need the milk, and you need the vinegar, and you need salt to help neutralize the rest of them.
How much milk was that, Aaron?
2 cups of milk minimum.
Well, what about the half a quart of raw milk? We drink that? You said
That's the
half?
2 cups.
Well, that's the 2 cups. Yeah.
And you talked about the fat, the cream?
No, you put that in the bath water.
The cream.
I drink the cream off.
This is too much.
It's optional.
Too delicious.
Use the cream for other.
Well, I used it for a long time. I used the cream in it, but then I tried it without the cream when I couldn't get much cream, and I sucked it off, and it still worked just as well. So I thought, why should I waste the cream in the bath?
Right. So any of these alternative therapies that involve any sort of low voltage are bad?
It's
Like
it's created on one model, and nobody fits that one model.
What about ionizers that you use in your apartment?
I have not used. I did research on ionizers in the 70s, in the early 70s, and at that time, what it caused was toxic molecules, including tars in the air, to solidify and harden. And if you're breathing those, it's not a good thing. So I found it was okay if you have the ionizer on when you're not in the house.
Right.
When you're in the house, don't have it on. If you've ever seen, you take a picture, you got an ionizer in your house, you remove the picture, and the whole wall's black except for where the picture is.
Yeah.
That's what it does to your lungs if it's on while you're in the room.
Uh-oh. Ionize cleanses the air. The air purifier.
That's what they say it does, but what it does is it cleans the tars out of the air, but then the molecules shoot right into something hard. That means it's going to go into your body. You're inhaling, it's going to go right into your lung walls. And that's like smoking marijuana. Just block up everything. Yes?
About the subject that you went on earlier, you said something about hepatitis. I'm trying to get my kid into a private. He's going to a private school, the Saints here, and they want them to have their polio shots, their hepatitis shots, all these shots. Now since it's a private school, they're kind of like a club. They don't have to accept you. They don't. I want them to have a good education. What can I go to them with? Like, is there an assembly bill? Is there something I can go say? Hey, listen, I don't have to.
Yes, California does not. You've got an escape clause if it's your religion.
Yeah.
Right.
Seventh-day Adventists have a form that says it's against my religion. I do not believe this.
It's going to a private Christian school, though.
Doesn't.
They go, which
Is that against
Religion, your health religion.
You can say it's against you think it's against God's law to do that. You could say that's.
Yeah, I did speak to his current school about that, preschool, and they were saying that he, they could accept us, or they could decline us for another reason, and they don't even have to say that.
Right.
I mean, they could just tell them, hey, I don't want him
Then go to another school.
Vaccination and
Exactly.
yeah.
What about homeopathic?
It's not worth it.
I've been to all the other schools, and I
This is the
for
one.
education purposes you can't go.
You just need it.
Have you gone to Highland Hall up in Northridge?
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna try
Yeah.
this. It's gonna
But then you have to have a doctor support that.
Have you?
Well, he's got medical proof since he has asthma and all that
Okay,
stuff.
then you could say
Maybe
he's
able to stay-
allergic to
with
to.
smoothies. He hasn't had his problem anymore.
Yeah, we took him off of the nebulizer
Right.
and all those things, and doing great.
As a follow-up
It's been great,
question to
yeah.
that, if he gets sick now, right now he's not on the total raw diet, just because it's been hard transitioning him into getting into anything like that right now.
Uh-huh.
Since we're so new at it too. So if he gets ill, and where he's going to have a lot of complex carbohydrates, a lot of that bad stuff for bacteria to
Feed on,
to
no.
feed on,
And what
and
we
possibly
treat
make
him?
it.
You just feed them lots of smoothies. Just keep it up.
To keep-
And then
to
give
keep
him
him
some
up.
raw chicken. So he'll properly through it.
So like we're saying, like if a child that has all these carbs in them or something gets E. coli or something, it would be hard to treat that child naturally,
No.
though, wouldn't it? What was it that you were saying? Because the carbs would block.
Well, they have more stuff
No,
to feed on.
if children only live on carbs, like in third world countries,
Oh, I see.
Lupus,
Yeah.
and you can get lupus.
you can get all kinds of things. It can go any which way.
But still treating him naturally would be the way to go,
Absolutely.
which is what we're doing now
Right.
anyway.
But in this room, treating only doctors can do. Only doctors in the state of California can treat anybody. So you don't treat your son, you nurture your son, okay? Because you saying that in public, the state of California medical division of the government can come after you for practicing medicine without a license. So remember that. You don't treat yourselves, you don't treat anybody, you nurture yourselves.
You
So
mentioned
don't we have the
marijuana.
right to medicate ourselves?
No, you do not.
Not their word.
No, you do not.
Not unless you're sovereign.
Right. Yeah. But then you still have to fight the law, and they can put you in jail, and you have to prove that you're sovereign.
Like the recent email that you sent me about those people in, I think, Texas. They had a kid and they didn't want to.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They didn't want what?
They were trying to refuse some kind of, what was it, a radiation or some
They
kind
were
of-
they were refuse radiation, and they wanted to refuse all those treatments.
Yeah,
They couldn't.
and you can't?
No, they went in. The state went and got a judge to take the child away from the parent.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's treat them.
That's
Yeah.
scary.
But that happens all the time. I witnessed that with one of my clients. She had twins, and these two boys were on this diet, and they were so healthy. They never had a cold. They were a year and a half old, and somehow the state got involved. That's a whole story. How the state got involved, came and took the children away. The judge had polio, so he was brainwashed that it was because he didn't get the vaccines in time, and he had already had 3. Why didn't he get them in time? So he was prejudiced against this woman having these 2 children and not getting vaccinations. So he ruled that these children had to get vaccinations. They were sick, sick, sick. I watched one twin die from getting 10 days after getting injections. So when you're that inundated, they were giving these children 7 vaccines within a 2-week period. The normal is 3, but they wanted to get them into the children before they gave them back before the mother got the custody back.
And one of them died.
Not one of this, another family. But these children were sick for weeks. Well,
There's
months
an
actually.
accredited school in
Flus.
Northridge which won't require that.
Pardon?
There's an accredited school called Highland Hall up in Northridge, which is a Waldorf education, Rudolf Steiner. Up in Northridge, they will not require that. They're very homeopathic and health and artistic. And
Well, there's also a man who, out of New York City, was a teacher, an accredited teacher, for 27 years in New York. one of the most accredited teachers that come out of the institution in all of time. He wrote a book that said, if you want your children to learn, don't send them to school, homeschool them. It only takes 100 hours to teach the normal child reading, writing, and arithmetic. The only thing the child's going to learn into normal school is how to be emotionally dependent, how to be drug dependent, how to be every dependent except, the one dependence you want is love. Dependency you want. So, take that.
Aajonus, I need to ask a question about wheatgrass.
Mm-hmm.
May I?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that we should do? Because it's not anything that's on my diet. But somebody said, Barbara, you should be drinking wheatgrass, and I thought I would check with you.
Well, I've been experimenting for the last year with wheatgrass juice because of the people, Awanza and other people who were using growth hormones. Now, a lot of people are using these human growth hormones, which are extracted growth hormones from plants, usually grasses. And they were claiming incredible results. However, the people that I tested them with that would be helped the most with MS, MD, muscular dystrophy, and other problems, chronic fatigue, reacted so badly that there was something wrong with it.
From the wheatgrass?
No, from the human growth hormone. Okay. So I decided that if I'm going to have to give some people an alternative, I would have to try to invent something. So I was looking at the wheatgrass. They use the wheatgrass because it grows so rapidly, so it has high growth hormone ability. So what I did was I decided to stabilize it in milk. So if you add like 3 ounces of wheatgrass to 29 ounces of milk, you'll get a good proportion.
Why did that?
And that helps the growth hormone stimulation. I've only been working with it for about a year now, but it seems to be working pretty well.
29 ounces of milk? That's a lot of milk.
Well, you take a quart of milk, you drink 3 ounces out of it, and put 3 ounces of wheatgrass in it, and you shake it up and you drink it over a day.
It stabilizes in one day? What does it stabilize?
Yes. It stabilizes the growth hormone properties.
What is growth hormone?
Ornithine. They're doing some stuff with that, and it's more natural.
Yeah, but I got it completely natural, HG1, and let me tell you,
Well, the cancer.
terrible.
Yeah.
Eden's, GH1, yeah.
Because you said what her earning is. And
Right, one.
Yeah.
With cancer, do you want growth hormone? I mean, anything that's growth scares me.
Well, I haven't been using it, but with one cancer client for the fear of that.
Okay, I better.
So I would wait.
Do you drink a quart in the day, or do you spread a few ounces of it?
Well, I'll drink a quart in a day.
Really? So,
Yeah.
so, I mean, usually the growth hormone supplements, you take them twice a day,
Yeah.
every day. So this is you just do whenever.
Yeah, I do, do it maybe 3 times a week, 2 times a week. That's all.
Is that liquid wheatgrass?
Yes. But you need to put the wheatgrass in the milk immediately. In a few minutes. Yes.
So take the milk to the.
Yes.
How long do you plan to live?
I don't. People ask me that question all the time. I don't care. As long as I'm happy and healthy, I don't care how long I live. I should have been dead 32 years ago, so I'm already ahead of the game. So I'm not interested in how long I live. I'm interested in how healthy and happy I am while I'm alive.
And how you live.
You were talking about ozonated water before, but I know that you, in your book, recommended hydrogen peroxide orally.
Don't do that anymore, because thought that I was getting good results from it, but then they turned out negative. Another thing, like the ozone,
So
it
you
looks good, but on the long run, it doesn't.
Okay, so you're differentiating the healing response or crisis from something that ultimately is
right. Yeah.
What about other oxygen supplements?
I've experimented with about 10 of them, and none of them are good.
Vitamin O stuff.
And the one that I use, the liquid oxygen that I use, is no longer on the market. It was so expensive with these new, chemical mixtures that have chemical oxygen which burn the system, just like hydrogen peroxide does in the high concentrations. Throw them off the market. so they don't even make it anymore.
Well, talk a little bit about psoriasis, treatment and causes. And
Well, I didn't want to get into anything specific, any specific disease like that to a great extent. But psoriasis, like I said in the book, is basically the inability to reproduce cells to heal properly. It can have been from too many x-rays, too many pollutants in the body, chemicals, anything that destroys the body's ability to reproduce cells, to build new cells in. Or to call out, the body can call out cells from other areas and deliver them to that area as scar tissue, as live cells, like an endometriosis. They can call out, you can have livers, those people who have liver spots. Those are actually liver cells on the skin. The liver is no longer utilizes them anymore because they're not functioning properly as a liver, but they will still function as a cell somewhere else in the body. So they'll act as a skin, so the body can send them there. If your body can no longer call out, have those particular hormones to call cells out of other areas to go to that area and repair that one spot, you've got a problem of psoriasis. Inability to heal wounds. And it may be because the concentration of contamination is in that general area, or the faulty ability of the lack of hormone to call out those cells to be transported. Okay. Lots of fats are necessary and meats are necessary to break.
You prefer distilled?
I did a 3-week fast in January, and I noticed a lot of improvements from the fasting. My posture's improved, my breathing's a lot better, liver has shrunk, my digestive system's a lot better. You know, what do you think about the idea of giving the body a break, the digestive system a break?
Well, you didn't really fast, you went on juices.
No, actually I did the Myocure, which is a little bit of milk and a dried roll. It's well known in Germany and in Europe. I've just noticed a lot of improvements, and I just wonder what you'd say about that.
Well,
I've
done a tremendous amount of fasts,
right.
Even up to a 41-day fast and nothing but urine, and a 31-day fast and nothing but water. And I've done lots of other fast experiments, juice feasts, and all of that.
Right.
I've always found that when you get the body narrowed down, it functions easier.
Right.
But it doesn't get well. It doesn't get better. When your body gets the nutrients to start getting in there and tearing apart, then it starts to work. What I found, let me give you an analogy. Let's say we have New York City, needs repairing. So let's say you get it lean, you take out all the people and you take out all those cars. The city's still going to rot. It hasn't changed. You haven't replumbed it. You haven't done anything. You've just leaned it out. And that's basically what happens when you fast. You lean the body down, but that doesn't mean the cells that remain, because you're going to start eating your own cells.
What about the body's ability to regenerate tissue on its own? I mean, don't you give it a chance?
It can't do that.
It can't?
I've never found it able to do. That's why you keep getting thinner and thinner and thinner. Now, if you took somebody, let's say 100 years ago, and you fasted them and they were out in the wild, and let's say they were farmers, you would be dead. They looked for women who were husky, had something on them. Because if anybody got sick, they could not withstand the temperatures, either the highs or the lows, and most of the people would die. Well, we are not exposed to those elements. So then you lose weight and get, feeling a lot thinner and easier and lighter and breathing better, everything better. You think you're much healthier, but then we put you in an environment that's harder, and you'll find out you'll be less healthy.
What about, a lot of cultures have used fasting in the past, and thousands of years for health, and yogis have used it, and a lot of them.
They did it at certain times of the year, like in Israel during, Christ's time. As far as what I've read from the Dead Sea Scrolls, that they would fast, in the late spring and late summer, not in the too hot times and not too cold times. And they had to do it because they had no other way to help them detox. They didn't have access to lots of foods. There are lots of Europeans who would use fasting, but they didn't do the normal fasting. Let's say Beeler used raw liver and vegetable juices. Basically, that's what I do to break down, get people to lose the fat that's toxic in their system. I have the juice in the egg or the juice in the meat. I've got a little bit down because I know that the egg will take out some toxins that the meat won't. Help get rid of certain fats better. But I've never found fasting, and I studied that for 30 years. I mean, doing intense fasts with myself and with other people. And I've never found it to be more helpful than detrimental. There was always detriments that you had to, it's like driving Peter to pay Paul. That's what it is, because your body eats itself. And you're not putting anything good into it. It has to exist on what is already in the body. And if what is in the body isn't great already, then you're not getting it any better. You just...
So there's no benefit to giving the body a rest?
Yes, there is. Like I say, what I tell people to do is eat the juice, the egg, juice, egg, juice, egg, juice, meat, juice, meat. So you're cutting down on the foods that you're eating to thin out.
But you're getting the nutrients.
Right, yes.
Right.
Like you see me, I'm at the end of mine right now, so I'm pretty thin than normal. But still, I'm pretty solid. I can't get much thinner than this. Then I'll go up to my larger size. I'll gain about 15 pounds, and I'll take it off again. But I'm doing it. Lori taught me how to do it fast, so I do it faster. Yes.
What do you think, or have you ever encountered people who are breatharians?
The only person that I ever met that claimed to be a breatharian was caught at 7-Eleven with some kind of a hot dog or hamburger. In my death experience, when I had, when I talked about in my book, when I died on the heater, with the pizza on my shirt, when I was in that death experience, I saw that that's what we are when we're not in body, breatharians. Because there is no eating. Okay? But when you're in human body, any kind of a body, you're there to experience the atmosphere, to experience that whole three-dimensional, sixth sense type of experience. Without eating, you're not connected with it. So while you're here in a human, in an animal body, using an animal body, it's part of the enjoyment. So I'm going to be a breatharian when I die. So why do I want to do it here? It's not the experience here. To move toward that, you just may as well take a gun to your head and you'll be there quickly.
That's what people say.
It'd be a great
food against raw food.
Yeah, that's true. You can do it. But that's a slow process.
What did you say there?
Well, people say the same thing. I'm here to have fun. I'm going to eat cooked food. I'm not going to eat your raw food ever they die.
Well, they are. They will. They're going to get disease and die, which is fine. That's their experience. I'm not against it. And if somebody wants to try to achieve breatharianism on this plane, I won't stop them. That's their choice to explore that. I tried it. Oh yeah, I tried. I tried to be a breatharian.
Is it okay? Is it okay?
I nearly
to,
died, but
is it okay to just eat plain cheese as a snack? I mean, getting
if you don't have constipation, it's fine.
I'm here to, I'm on the program. I want to know how I can. Okay, so it's okay.
Yeah, usually I will always eat cheese with something to break, the hunger. Like some honey or some butter or, some milk with it. If you have a tendency toward constipation, you don't want to eat cheese alone. If you're one of those people who does beautifully with cheese and doesn't constipate you, then
it's okay.
I think it's fine.
It's a quick snack.
Oh, is that a hand up? I thought you were holding your pen up all this time.
I have a friend.
You better do this.
Her 11-year-old daughter was just diagnosed with Crohn's disease. What is your opinion on why she has that diet, or is it stress in diet? Is it she's never been like hospitalized or anything as a child, nothing like that.
Very hostile home though.
Well, I would say that from my experience of Crohn's disease, it can be many, many things.
They did colonoscopy where they went in and they saw lesions on her lower intestine, her upper intestine, and by her stomach. They did the whole.
The only people that I've seen have Crohn's disease are people who eat a tremendous amount of cooked starches, lots of cereals, and lots of sugars.
Okay.
And that's what
And it destroys the intestinal environment completely. There's usually no bacteria present.
They're a high
No bacteria present in the intestines, so everything rips the intestines and it bleeds and it causes lesions and scarring.
What should you do? Child.
Lots of raw eggs, lots of smoothies, lots of meat. Anything will create the bacteria. You can even take the raw clabbered milk and do, the infusions, like I said, in the intestines to build
What
it up.
is raw clabbered milk?
Well, you stick it out and let it solid.
Well, I've been experimenting with it for years. If you take the milk and you take about, 3/4 of a cup out, 6 ounces out of the Claravel, you can do it in the Claravel bottle. However, poor Ron has to go there with a bristle brush, and clean out each bottle.
Right.
So it's better to put it in one that you can get in and clean it easier. So get those quart jars with the wide, with the regular mouth on it, and then pour about, most of the quart into it, and let it sit for 3 days. I think he said it took him 2 days or 8 hours less than the 3 days in his room temperature to get it to clabber to the point where it looked like yogurt.
Curdle, you mean, or
No, clabber. So it looks like yogurt. It will actually, if it's raw, it will actually look like yogurt. If you let it go longer, then the water will completely separate, and then you're going to have curdled milk, which you can make cottage cheese with. But the point is to have it at the point where it clabbers. Pardon?
does it have the acetophilus and all of that in it?
It has all of those the bacteria that's more important is the animal. Acidophilus is not a natural. Bulgaris caucasus, all of those are created to help digest the proteins, the sugars, and the fats. So each one of those will break down one of those substances. The milk naturally has those substances already in them. So if you let them work on the milk before you ingest them, you will infuse them into you to help you generate your own. If you take acidophilus supplements, Bulgarias, even the kefirs, you will not help you regenerate your own. It will just pre-digest it for you so you can get the value of the milk, but still will not break it down into the most appropriate molecular disassemblement that is for you, the individual.
How do you make
If you let the milk do it, pardon?
How do you make your own kefir?
You just let the raw milk just sit at room temperature.
You can get it overnight if you sit it on the top of the stove. If you happen to have a pilot light, take a little of it off so that the top doesn't pop as it starts to ferment.
Yeah, it needs warmth. Do you cover it? You cover it?
Yeah, I cover it.
I don't cover mine. I just put something so that the dust doesn't enter to it. Yeah, or half a top.
So then you like stir it up and
No.
it's like a fish.
I shake it, sit on the stove. In the morning, I've got this
I don't have a pilot light.
milk. You don't have a pilot light.
Well, I don't either. So I just leave it at room temperature. It takes longer.
On top of the fridge.
Yeah. The reason I don't like to put it on top of the fridge is because the EMFs that come off the fridge are phenomenal.
I don't mind.
They broadcast like 3 feet.
Environmental.
Yeah.
So you shake it?
EMFs change the RNA and DNA structure
In the milk.
in the milk. Changing humans.
So you shake it and you just eat it all by itself?
Yeah, but if you put it in larger, you can spoon it out and enjoy spooning.
Just in between meals?
Yeah. Right. Or with meals. It's fine as long as it isn't with vegetable juice.
I see.
The only thing that you could mix with vegetable juice is coconut cream and raw cream.
Can you add honey
But this
and
clabbered
fruits
milk?
to the milk when you eat it that way?
Yeah, you're right.
And this clabbered milk can be eaten with meat?
Yes.
Sam?
I want to.
Sam's your son.
Some experience of mine. I had kidney stones, I had gallstones, I had a ulcer in my stomach. And with all this, I got rid of it through fasting and water. And everything it was ended very good.
Yeah, I've seen people do that, but I also see the damage done to the rest of the body for fasting.
Well, for a long time, sometimes 30 days, sometimes 21 days. I think I fasted more than anybody in this world. And I really came out pretty good. I was to 80 and
What was your fast?
my eyes got better, my vision got better. I couldn't hear good, this cleared up. So I got very good results.
Like I said, people who fast get better about their conditions, but not necessarily over the whole.
You don't think fasting might be okay for certain kinds of people?
Pardon?
You don't think fasting might be good for certain kinds of people?
I've not found a situation where I saw it better than the side effects.
In the long
like
term.
I said, robbing Peter to pay Paul is fine.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
For 24 hours.
Yeah. No, it may be for years, but then, it comes to that point where, the damage done may be, too great.
Gotcha. Do you recommend the cloud of milk all the time?
I don't digest it well when it's fresh, so I do it all the time, And when I drink it, because I haven't bought enough to keep it going, and I drink it fresh, I have to drink more, a lot more of it, and I dehydrate easier.
That's why I'm so dry from the milk.
You could be, yeah. So if you let it clabber, it doesn't happen.
What do you mean by keep it going?
It takes 3 days for me to get it to the clabbered point.
Are you culturing it? From your culture, your clabber into your new work.
You can do that, and it will work faster. Yes.
Do you refrigerate it after it's ready?
Yes, if you're not going to drink it all.
Right.
See, I stagger it. I take 2 out a day. As I drink 2, I'll use 2. I put 2 more out to start.
Then why'd you say 3/4 cups of milk?
I said take out 3/4 of a cup so that, you've got a jar with some air in it.
Unless it's a bigger jar.
Out of the core.
Yeah.
How can you load up on parasites? You talked a lot about bacteria, but let's get right to the
I
parasites.
haven't been able to get them. Like I say, I ate, and I won't.
What about us that can?
I don't know. I haven't found anybody that wanted to experiment.
Yeah, some guinea pigs, yeah.
You want to experiment with getting some parasites?
I will.
Okay, well, we can work on that. Definitely, if you want to, definitely.
I thought everyone had parasites, unless it doesn't really radiate.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Some people say that, but I don't know.
I think we all
That would be wonderful.
parasitized.
Hold on. Yes, John.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about your theories about where you don't catch things, we're always detoxifying. So I understand that you don't catch colds. But how do you explain things like large epidemics such as the Black Plague that swept through Europe, a century ago, or sexually transmitted diseases?
Well, do you know the lemmings come out every 7 years and jump off the cliff? Do you think they get a contagious disease at that point? Well, the Black Plague, from what I understand, comes out about every 112 years, something like that. So it's a microbe or a virus that comes at a certain time. It's on a time lapse. Now, if people aren't well, and that becomes a part of them, they may not survive it. Depends upon their individual makeup. And of course, if you live on advanced glycation, most of the people who died, people who live on, either were vegetarians or people who lived on tremendous amount of carbohydrates and were not getting meat or milk.
Poor people.
Yeah, poor people. Yeah, mostly poor people. Yeah. Unless they were farmland farm people, then they were healthy and fine. But it was your city people who were poor.
Yeah, that's right. It's the city people.
Or
and people
also in the what I read from one particular engineer who survived the flu of 1912, was it? 1916? 1918? He said that, and all the people he knew who were wealthy, who went to doctors, all the allopaths, one out of 7 died.
The doctors?
1 out of 7, the allopaths. He said those people who went on to, who ate good raw foods, often maybe 1 out of 50 died, I think it was. 1 out of 50 or 1 out of 90 something, not quite as close to that. Between 50 and 90 is a big stretch, but only 1 out of all those.
What they died?
So-called the flu. But he's saying that they died of the treatment, which would be anaphylactic shock. But the people who were not going to doctors were not dying.
So then what about sexually
Very
transmitted?
Pardon?
And what about sexually transmitted things?
Did you read my book?
Yes.
Okay. Remember I talked about Byron in there, who was with the woman with syphilis?
Right.
She was in stage 3. So he didn't
And he
get
never
it.
got it.
Yeah.
So
He never
do you
got
think that people that get AIDS and die of it are susceptible to it because
No, I think
already
people who, from what I've read, they were injected with it. Okay. If they're passing needles and stuff like that, then they're probably
But if
getting
their
it.
environment's clean enough, maybe they can get it from the needle and they can resist it.
Yes.
But what about
Very
stories
possible.
where gay men interact with other gay men and have it, and one of their partners will get it and the other guy doesn't? Like what?
Okay, since I worked with quite a few of them for a long while, everyone that I questioned had the hepatitis vaccine.
Okay. So the ones
And
that
sometimes
die,
it took 15 to 20 years for it to come out on them. But everyone was blaming the partner. Well, I didn't have AIDS before I got together with him. And I said, did you ever have the hepatitis vaccine? Every one of them had had it. And those who hadn't had the hepatitis vaccine had been shooting up and changing needles with people who had.
How many AIDS people did you work with?
About 27. But let me tell you, they have those people so scared, it's ridiculous.
Did you have success?
Yeah. Very good.
People have the hepatitis vaccine and they go on.
But it's a long process because when you have to understand that when somebody has got AIDS and HIV, well, basically when you've got a hepatitis, to go get the hepatitis vaccine in the first place, you've traumatized your body to the point where your liver is not functioning properly. So recovering takes a very long time. You have to get the liver, and it takes 2.5 years to get the liver well enough to get the body regenerating. So getting someone well from AIDS, if they got it from the hepatitis vaccine, could take very, very, very long time.
But it was saying if you have the vaccine, what they've created to, how long is it? So it's going to take 2.5 years, plus even on the raw foods.
It could take 12, 15 years for them to recover from all the problems.
They probably get a lot better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Now, what was her name?
It was Sylvia.
Sylvie. Sylvie mentioned about, the fasting. You see how dry that her skin is. I just don't want to say this when she's present. You see how dry her skin is, how everything is just shriveled up. Well, I've seen her, I've looked at her eyes, I've photographed her eyes. Her eyes are very toxic. There's a lot to go through. Fasting got rid of the stones quickly, but it certainly didn't help a lot of other things. She thinks she's in great shape for 80. She is. She's in pretty good shape for 80. But that's using her feeling well as a model. But if I'm looking at her skin all shriveled up like that, and her bent over at the spine, that doesn't indicate health to me. That's somebody who's surviving old age, but not well.
You're comparing it to other 80-year-olds who are very sick.
Correct. And then my parents who eat 50% raw, and I've gotten to do it for 20 years, who are dying in their 70s or now in their 80s, and they don't have all that dry skin.
On the 50%.
50%.
Although,
Still good.
I have to say that from the fasting I did, my posture improved hugely. I mean, my pelvis was all pushed forward. I was sort of, walking oddly. I'm really much more straight.
Right,
The body's
yeah.
naturally gone straight.
But that's now. But let's say,
right.
The amount of cleaning out that it did to help you arrest certain things
Right.
did not help regenerate tissues. So the decalcification, the demineralization of your spine may have helped alleviate some of that pressure in the spurs on your spine. And that is a good thing.
But as a sort of quick start and then back onto the diet, really not.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably better off that way.
Right.
And in a circumstance where it generates symptoms, side effects which are good like that, responses that are good like that, I would have to respond to your thing and say maybe her doing it was good.
Okay.
But I didn't observe it, so I don't know what the trade-off was.
Right.
I don't know who
What she
got
might have
robbed.
lost that she
I don't
may
know
not be
what
aware
part
of.
of her body got robbed to PayPal. So that's all.
But now if she
Fair
goes
enough.
onto a raw food diet, that's much better than if she didn't do that, right?
Oh yes, definitely.
Are you recommending that we drink our urine? I wasn't sure whether you said yes or no on that.
Well, I think it's all an individual thing. Your urine is nothing other than your blood without a lot of red blood cells.
It's not very toxic if the body's
No.
getting rid of it.
Because if your body knows that you're drinking your urine, it's not going to use the urinary tract as a dump site.
So that could be good or bad. If you're drinking your urine, it's good, but if you want to detox, it's bad.
Well, it depends. I would say if you have problems digesting and utilizing proteins, that's when I suggest that people utilize their urine. Just like in India, people who do not get meat, they have to live on grains, drink their urine. The Sufis, all of them will do it because they don't get enough protein. So they continue to drink the urine because they lose a lot of the proteins in their urine, so they'll drink them. And it reverses a lot of ill conditions by doing that. So if you're a person who doesn't assimilate proteins well, you have a tendency to wrinkle and dehydrate, then I would say you're not utilizing your proteins well enough. And you should use it.
Is that the first urine of the day?
And I wouldn't say drink all of it. That may be a little too much.
The first one in the morning or any time of the day?
I've experimented with a lot of different ways. I've experimented with drinking all of it, especially when I fasted. I experimented with drinking the first. There are positives and negatives about that.
Right.
There's a lot more hormonal activity in the morning one,
Right.
but there's also a lot more nerve toxicity because the nerves detox at night. So, depends upon the individual. I would say it's best to drink it after a good protein meal. Within about an hour and a half after eating a good protein meal.
That's a good point. Have you heard the raw eggs?
Oh, and one more thing. There's a little bit more ammonia because the kid on the ammonia to put in the urine, so that's also in urine, and that helps clear. That's why people have better effects when they drink the urine with their skin, or apply it on the surface.
I can put that on here. I think you told me once, and I haven't done it. With the cream and then the urine.
Urine first, and then the cream over that. Yeah.
You also saying for molds, weren't you, and warts and things, you
Yeah.
drink one day, olive oil the next day.
How much olive oil do you put in your meat every day?
So at 4 meals, I'll have 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or maybe I'll have 4 tablespoons of
I've
olive
been putting
oil
it
in
in
one meat meal.
2-3 times a day, a tablespoon at a time with my chicken or my beef.
I
take 1 tablespoon.
Yeah. Okay, 1 tablespoon. That's all right.
That's 2 tablespoons a day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. But I'd have them at 1 meal rather than, so you're not making solvents to do all that so much.
And how important is it to have the chicken, fish, and beef every day? Because all I want is beef. I can't stand fish now, and I can't stand chicken.
Well, then just eat beef for about 4 or 5 days and then go back to doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever you get that, there'll be times when you just hate any other food, but let's say just chicken or just beef or just fish. do it for a few days and then try the others again
Okay.
until you get back into it. Like I said in the book, there was one time when I couldn't touch fish or beef at all. 6 months I just ate chicken. That was it, chicken. I mean, maybe once or twice when I went out to a restaurant and had sushi, or I went out to a restaurant and there was only beef on it, so I ordered a cold steak on a cold plate. You know, that I had the beef, but mostly I ate just the chicken for that whole 6
And
months.
the other thing is I'm hooked on lemon and honey, which I try to have with my smoothie or something.
The lubrication form?
I just love, I like have 4 lemons a day.
Well, like I told you before,
Can't stop.
I have a problem with that, but yet Awanza did it, and she was having that lemon and honey every day, just like you, and she got rid of her 63 tumors.
Oh, okay.
You know?
63?
Yeah. She has 63 tumors. So she got rid of hers now. She went through a lot more sickness, and she was in bed a lot, and she was a lot more fatigued than anybody I've ever seen, but she was also a vegetarian for 14 years. You know, so she was a very weak individual.
Was she a raw vegetarian?
No, she tried that, but she started going nuts, you know, getting diabetic and stuff like that. So she couldn't do it.
16 years for her, because you just, some
It
people.
took 11 years for her to get well.
I hear some people do well as a raw vegetarian for a while, don't they?
I did well for about 3.5 years,
How do you count your
and then I
tumors?
stuck to it for another 3 years.
Yeah, you do well in the beginning, and then you go to hell, man. After that, I had the worst pain. Yeah.
I'm talking about as a raw vegetarian?
Yeah.
How do you count your tumors?
Pardon?
How do you count your tumors?
Well, I didn't count them. She had had a doctor
I see.
count them. So that's how many they found. That doesn't mean that's
Oh, I
all
see.
she had.
But they dissolved. They didn't all necessarily just pop out or anything.
They came out in many different ways.
Okay.
She had abscesses on her skin, not on her face, but on her body. And she vomited like 11 times a day sometimes. You know, her body took her stomach. That was her main path. Diarrhea sometimes, severely.
Okay.
But I would say her stomach was her main vehicle of discharge, elimination. Yes?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about dentists and how they take x-rays of your mouth and all that.
Don't let them. I do not let them.
They could still do their work and all that. Can you refuse that?
Yes.
I mean,
I
freaking
do.
out on you?
I find a dentist, and I've always been able to find a dentist who will do it.
Right.
They just say, if I do that and I can't see a cavity that's not visible, I can't be held responsible. You say, fine, I'll sign a waiver.
Okay.
You know.
What about
And I
getting,
get, pardon?
what about getting the mercury out of your fillings?
I think it's a good idea once you've stabilized.
But you don't want to do
I think it's
Novocaine.
bad. I got one of my clients who was in critical condition with cancer all over, and 2 weeks ago she went and had a mercury out. She's on her deathbed right now. She hasn't been out of bed since she had that. She only had 2 of them removed at that time, and I told her wait 1.5 years. And people kept telling her, your mercury's one of your main problems. It's killing you. And I said, no, it's not.
But now it's released.
That's a lot of sick people.
Yeah,
go
now it's
there.
released in her system, and all of a sudden all the injections that go along with
The
it.
Novocaine.
Yep.
Is the Novocaine that bad?
Oh, it's
Oh,
terrible.
it's terrible.
What do you use? Is there anything?
I don't. When I had my teeth drilled on for 8 hours, and I didn't have anything but marijuana. And I ate it.
Oh,
I
okay.
ate some marijuana and had the pain formula.
What about nitrous oxide?
It's a gas that can really damage your system.
Well, can the
I'd say the nitrous oxide is a little easier to detoxify than the Novocaine. Because one molecule of the Novocaine, because it's not from cocaine anymore. But Novocaine used to be created from cocaine. Now it's a synthetic product.
With okay.
And it takes 40 to 60 molecules of fat combined with one molecule of that Novocaine to get it out of your system. So why people have so much dental and gum and jawbone rotting nowadays.
how effective is your pain formula for dentistry level pain?
It's pretty good. It's very good.
Okay.
The only thing that it doesn't work
Bring a
for
couple quarts.
well, you drink it nothing but that for a whole day before you go.
Okay.
That and the cheese.
Okay.
And then you probably won't feel much of anything.
Okay.
What was I going to say? I don't know. Went away. I guess it's time for me to eat. What time is it, first of all?
It's 10:05.
Well, we're already over.
Well, we
the
started
limit,
this
guys.
earlier.
Right.
I'm going to ask one question. All I want to
Yes, okay.
I've read that raw eggs will deplete the biotin in your system. That biotin's one of the vitamins.
They say that the Avidin, in my book, there's a misprint. There was a spell check that went through and changed Avidin to albumin. Yeah. So it's the Avidin that binds with the biotin. That only happens in a chemistry lab. It doesn't happen in the body.
So you're saying raw eggs don't?
No, they do not.
Okay, so you're saying what the people who are saying that are saying it because of the
It happens in a laboratory, but it doesn't happen in the human body. You use a lot of biotin in the process of changing over biocarbons in the body. So, when you get raw eggs, you're going to use that biotin in it to change over and you're going to find Avidin present within that complex. But it's not a deprivation, it's a utilization to transfer biocarbons. And I mentioned that in the book. Just remember when you get to that part that talks about albumin, it's supposed to be Avidin.
So much talk about the stuff you can get from chicken and eggs. Ever have a problem? Because why?
You're missing.
I'm sorry to report. I lost my balance entirely. I'm sorry to do that to you. I know how it must have felt.
Oh yes, milk. Let's have attention one more time. I wanted to talk about the milk.
Yeah,
we don't have milk easily available. In fact, it is illegal. This milk, Clairville milk, is illegal in Los Angeles County. They can call it off the shelf at any time. Now, I met with, it's the only county in in California that is illegal. You can get it in any other county in California. Now, I've been fighting this for about a year and a half hard. I met with Zev Yaroslavsky's health deputy last week, or the week before, about 10 days ago. And we were talking about the whole issue because I think that they should just dissolve the Los Angeles Medical Milk Commission because we have the warning label on it. We don't need a commission to look over the bacteria level because we know it has bacteria in it and we wanted to have a bacteria in it, so get rid of the Medical Milk Commission. They don't want to do it. Everybody's afraid of the bacteria. But they listened to me and he said, you've got a good point. You have the bacteria label on there. It should be released. It should be. That's a good argument. Because they let it, they let alcohol, they let cigarettes out. They have all that, and those are known problems. And a lot of the people that I speak with in the health department who are MDs say that milk is a problem. I said, okay, so it says a problem. We've got a label on it. We know it. Let's have our problem.
Drinking this maybe.
Right. So it may come down to another demonstration. Now, I've had 2 demonstrations a year apart.
I'll go.
The first time 8 people showed up. The second time 20 people showed up. If you give a fuck, show up.
Right. Okay.
If I send you a letter, and I will send anybody that comes here and gets on the mailing list will get a notification.
Oh, good.
You've got to show up because if you don't show up, if there aren't 100 people to show up, the media will not attend and nobody cares.
Nothing will change.
Nothing will change. And we need to change it. Which is Zev Yaroslavsky's, Ron Hansen, his health deputy, said to me, he said, you're able to get milk here, Clairville milk's on the market. And I said, yeah, even though you're not enforcing the law, anybody at any time could say, pull it, and that's it.
And they have a whole.
I want assurance that you're not going to enforce the law because I don't want the law to exist. So the only way we're going to be able to do it is to show up in numbers.
When?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to do it in June. It's a hot time to be downtown Los Angeles, but to organize everybody, it takes a few months.
Okay.
You know, so maybe the end of May or the mid-June, somewhere. It'll be on a Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday is when the Board of Supervisors, who is the boss for the LA Medical Mail Commission, convenes on Tuesdays. So you've got to show up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you've got to be there till 2:30, 3 o'clock. I had some people that would come in, drop in for 2 hours, and then take off. We did not make an impact. They didn't give a shit. Only one network showed up, and it was a Spanish-speaking network, and I don't even think they aired it. You know? So if you care about having milk and the freedom, you've got to speak up. I can't do this alone. I've been fighting this battle alone. And I can't do it. You guys got to help me.
I'll be there.
And help yourselves. Okay?
All right.
So I hope I have everybody's name and number. If you haven't received a flyer from the people who mail, then you're not on the mailing list. If you received a flyer for this, then you're on the mailing list. If you didn't receive a flyer, get on the mailing list. It means leave your name and number with me. Your name, number, and address. Also, I am one of the invited guests in these potlucks. Somebody has to volunteer their place. Is there anybody who wants to volunteer? Okay, we have two hands. Okay. The last time somebody volunteered for somebody else, and we didn't have a space, so we had to impose upon Joanne again, but she didn't mind for some reason, which is great. So we have three people. Could you mark down all three of you on the list?
Okay.
Okay.
And I just want to say, the last one that we had, somebody left this behind. Does anybody recognise this? It was left over by the sofa. Little glass, red glass case.
There was a lot of people that were at the last one and the one before not here.
I know.
So different people flow every time.
Okay.
Thank you, Aajonus.
You're welcome. Okay, now also there has to be a volunteer to do the mailing. I give the mailing labels, and somebody else has to. Okay, you'll do the mail. I always pay for the stamps. Okay.
You just need the label.
I'll give you the labels, and you put them on the flyers and mail them out.
You got it.
Okay, terrific. So give me your name and number and address.
I'll get with her.
Okay, terrific. Give me a list.
About getting the envelope made, about getting interested in your name and address. I was working with this guy here. Yes,
No, because I heard you talking about your last page. Because I got this one over here.
No, I just got to do it.
I won't do it. Well, I've had it for a while. I brought it to people like you can see it.
That's been there. Years.
I ain't got too much in the cleaning.
Filling is one thing, filling all things dead. You got down there right ways.
amazing. I swear to God.
What I have are solutions for always be
That's my major.